Well, hello everyone, happy Tuesday, and welcome back to today's shorter version of Before the Four, the live stream, where I talk about some of 48's top news stories and then some before our 4 o'clock newscast. Wherever you're watching today, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on YouTube, or the 48 Now live stream, thank you so much for watching and spending a bit of your Tuesday afternoon here with me. Now, we have a bit to jump into in a short amount of time, so I think it's about time we start things off. And starting things off with an update in DeKalb County. This is the update on a murder-suicide that happened in Mentone Friday night. The DeKalb County coroner has now identified the couple that was killed in the incident. The two have been identified as 76-year-old Kenneth Trowbridge and his wife, 69-year-old Vicky Patrick. Now, the DeKalb County Sheriff's Office said the incident happened in Mentone Friday night. DeKalb County 911 Center received a call from a man who said he needed law enforcement at his home due to multiple deaths. Now, the caller said he had shot his wife and their dogs and then expressed intentions to take his own life. Dispatchers continued to engage in conversation until the call was disconnected. When deputies arrived, they discovered the bodies of a man, a woman, and 2 dogs, all with apparent gunshot wounds. And that is a very sad update there. But now let's talk about the weather. Another warmer day today, but don't get used to it. Once again, it's about to cool off. Let's turn over to 48 First Alert Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis for a look at everything you need to know. How's it looking, Brad?
AJ, it's that time of day where we talk about how much colder it's going to get tomorrow. You see behind me, high temperatures in the 40s. Right now it's close to 70. The front's about to move through. Still some rain showers just ahead of the front in DeKalb County and Jackson County, areas that need it the most. You can see we're still in that drought out there. The latest drought monitor will come out as we get into Thursday. But here's a quick look at radar. You can see everything firing up well east of the Huntsville metro area, but still some much needed locally heavy rain over there between Fort Payne and Scottsboro, right on the bluff there in Section. It's kind of being forced, that orographic lifting we call it, as it's forced to climb the terrain over there. But look at the temperatures beginning to fall in Lawrenceburg. That's kind of the first indication of the front. It's 69 right now in Huntsville, but look at the next 12 hours. Boy, we say goodbye. It's been nice having the warmer air around, but we get back to reality and back to the cold air that's pretty much locked in place here the last few weeks. 46 at 1 a.m., north-northwest winds at 12, gusting to 20 tomorrow morning. So this is what it's going to feel like this evening. We go from feeling like the 50s, in fact 70 right now, to below freezing feels like temperatures after midnight. And we will wake up tomorrow morning to the cold reality of winter-like temperatures, feeling like the 20s. Actual high temperatures the next few days, 46 both Wednesday and Thursday. Thursday will be the better day to be outdoors because it's just going to be colder in the morning. There'll be less wind. Tomorrow, again, those wind gusts right around 20 miles an hour. Some big changes coming up for the weekend. Looks like rain likely Saturday and then more rain coming Monday. Back to you.
Whew. We'll make sure to bundle up, that is for sure. Thank you, Brad. But now in DeKalb County, where a murder suspect is continuing her fight for youthful offender status. Jessie Kelly, who you're seeing on screen, was arrested and charged with capital murder for the disappearance and death of Mary Elizabeth Isbell. After months of fighting for youthful offender status, today the district attorney's office said they are still reviewing her application, adding that it could be February before a decision is made. Youthful offender status would seal Kelly's court records and lighten any potential sentences she would receive. Investigators believe Kelly and her mother, Loretta Carr, kidnapped Isbell and pushed her off a cliff 3 years ago. Kelly was 20 at the time, just under the cutoff for youthful offender status. She is being held in the Cherokee County Jail to be separated from Carr. And in Huntsville, where today we learned that a murder suspect pled guilty to a lesser charge back in October. Jerry Ingram, that's who you're seeing on screen, pled guilty to manslaughter and is scheduled to be sentenced tomorrow morning. The judge over his case ordered the Alabama Bureau of Pardons and Paroles to do a pre-sentencing investigation. Ingram, now 20, was arrested 2 years ago for shooting and killing Jalen Hill on Pratt Avenue. It is unclear what led up to the shooting, but investigators say the two were visiting a friend the night of the shooting. Ingram is currently free on bond. And now, here's a story in case you missed it out of Albertville. A new lawsuit has been filed that claims sexual harassment against a former employee with the Albertville Fire Department. 48's Nick Ballinger has those details.
Homophobic slurs, nicknames, and comments are all spelled out in this lawsuit against the city of Albertville and its fire department. Eric Artrip represents Zachary Wilkins, who a lawsuit claims was forced to resign from the department back in August and is now claiming his Title VII rights were violated.
Here, these firefighters really started picking on him for what they perceived to be his slight build and characteristics that they felt were less than masculine.
Title VII stops employers from discriminating on the basis of a person's race, appearance, or sexual identity. Shortly after Wilkins joined the department, the lawsuit claims he was texted and told homophobic remarks like, "The least offensive, Happy Pride Month, Rusty. Other remarks are just not appropriate to show you on TV."
He felt very helpless in the whole situation because he really enjoyed being a firefighter and wanted to continue on. He was in a position where he really didn't know what to do.
Artrip says Wilkins did the only thing he could think to do, tell his supervisor. The suit claims a meeting was then called with everyone on the shift where they were told, quote, "What happens on this shift stays on the shift," end quote. In what the lawsuit claims to be a punishment, Wilkins was then forced to demonstrate an exercise he says he was not trained to do, resulting in him hurting his ankle. The lawsuit says he was later forced to complete an obstacle course on a day he had tested positive for COVID. He was then told he could resign or he would be fired after trying to complete the course. 4 days later, the lawsuit says Wilkins was sent a text from an anonymous person after he reported his sexual harassment that started with, quote, "You a gay boy. You think we ain't covered? The city got us," end quote.
The problem with excusing behavior like this as just, horseplay or, boys being boys or something like that really ignores the fact that a person shouldn't have to go through this just for going to work.
Well, thank you, Nick. And moving over to Rogersville, where officials are trying to fix the community's water supply issues. Community members in Rogersville say they've seen a slow decline in development within town limits. And 48's Aria Pons is on your side with the story.
Rogersville Mayor Richard Hurston says growth is great, but it's the challenges that it brings that stop it right in its tracks. That's the problem that Rogersville faces right now. They need more water to grow. Hurston says the town is not receiving enough water from the 3 wells it has to sustain the people who live here and add to that. He says there have been several people who want to create subdivisions and developments, even bring big businesses to the area, but they can't because there's not enough water. To solve this, all the mayors in Lauderdale County have been meeting, and they plan to source their water from Florence eventually. Hurston says updating pipes, creating more tanks, and eventually finding more wells locally will help that problem.
The problem is you've got to provide services for the customers you have. I mean, you can't out-resource what you have, and then you can't put out fires, you can't provide water for your customers, so you got to make sure you go with what you've got. And so there's a limit how many we can put on our system now.
I will be in the water board meeting where one citizen intends to bring up water availability in the area. I'll have more on that at 5. Reporting in Rogersville, Aria Pons, 48, on your side.
Well, now that we've talked about water issues, now it's time to talk about fire. And over the past few days across the Tennessee Valley, we've seen an uptick in structure fires. 48's Callie Niche yesterday spoke with Huntsville Assistant Fire Marshal Jerry Tanner, who provided fire safety advice, especially during the holiday season. Take a listen.
3 fires in the past 2 days has kept Huntsville Fire and Rescue very busy, but officials tell me that they are prepared for this, especially this time of year.
And we're more than adequately staffed this time of year, as we are any other time of the year.
Over the past 2 days, Huntsville firefighters were called to 3 separate fires that left over a dozen people without a home. The first happened on Oakmont Avenue on Sunday, where 12 people were displaced after a house fire spread flames into a neighboring home. This morning, another Madison County family's home was destroyed after a fire inside the attic. Assistant Fire Marshal Jerry Tanner says these are still under investigation, but seeing large fires this time of year is not a surprise. He says oftentimes those fires involved decoration dangers.
A lot of them are going to be from Christmas decorations, the improper hanging of Christmas lights. A lot of people love to put out candles this time of year to help celebrate, makes them feel festive, and a lot of times they forget them.
Tanner told me this time of year especially, they see a large amount of calls involving Christmas decor. He wants to remind the public to make sure they are thinking about fire safety when decorating.
Number one, like I said, the candles. Always make sure you blow them out before you go to bed. Make sure your Christmas lights, your decorations, that they're hung properly, that you don't use nails. You could accidentally damage the wire, cause a short. Turn them off when you go to bed, or if you're leaving the house, turn them off.
The causes of this weekend's fires are still under investigation. Visit WAFF.com for a full list of fire safety tips for the holidays. Reporting in Huntsville, Callie Neese, 48 News, on your side.
Certainly good to know. Thank you, Callie. And now it is that time of the year where especially a lot of stuff is coming to your front door in mailboxes. But one community here in North Alabama is not only experiencing mail delays, it's having an issue keeping packages dry. 48's Noah Cowell has the story.
The post office here in Harvest struggled to keep packages and mail dry earlier this morning, something that becomes more challenging with increased mail volume during the holidays, according to the United States Postal Service. But some community members see the packages getting wet earlier, and they think it's a symptom of a much larger problem, and that's delays in delivery and pickup. Eddie Oakes says he and his wife came to the post office this morning to report their outgoing mail had been sitting in their mailbox since Saturday morning. It's an issue Oakes says has happened several times since October, which hurts them financially.
They said it's because they had 5 new routes added, and they didn't give them cars to do them with, and they didn't give them employees to drive those routes. Dad's getting late notices saying his money ain't showing up because they're not picking up the mail, and when they do pick up the mail, it's not getting routed to its destination.
Oakes says the delays extend to their incoming mail as well. They continuously receive mail days late, all at one time. He says this problem isn't just isolated to their family. Others showed up to the post office this morning with similar complaints.
They created these new routes that they shouldn't have created if they didn't have the personnel to handle it. We get medications, we get other important legal documents through the mail, and we got to have them, and they ain't showing up.
The United States Postal Service said in a statement earlier this afternoon that they will continue to add resources and staffing to help with this workload. And one of their spokespersons said that she will look further into the issue and have more information on Tuesday. Now, if these delays do continue, Oakes says that he wants the community to be provided with a free post office box. Reporting in Harvest, Noah Cowell, 48 News, on your side.
Thank you, Noah. And that is all she wrote for today's Before the 4. Thank you all for watching, and enjoy tonight's newscast, whether it's the 4, the 5, the 6, or the 10. Have a great night, and as always, thank you for watching. You all have a great night.